Hello everybody and welcome back to Alma. So we're going to start this episode by disking our ploughed field here and getting this all ready for when it comes planting time, which we will have to use the planter, not the seed drill, to put our soybeans into here. We do have our worker on ploughing the cornfield, so we can just leave him to do whatever he needs to do over there, take as much time as possible. As we just pass through the months. So we're going to get into here. In this episode, I would like to first set up steering assist. I'm going to go 2 headlands. I much prefer doing 2. It just makes turning and everything that little bit easier. So if we just drop this down and go on this route first, because we'll have to do the middle. So in this episode, we're going to sell everything. So we're going to sell the dry corn. We're going to sell our wheat. I'm not going to sell any straw, hay or silage because I believe we may need a bit of that. And we're also going to do our first mix in a mixer wagon in the trailer that we have, which I've never used. Well, I used them in 22, but I haven't used them in FS25. And then we're going to hopefully buy ourselves a forklift. So we're either going to go forklift or we're going to go for a skid steer. I know skid steers seem to be more American. Well, I say more American. They're more used in the American market, I guess, from what you see online. And we're also going to go and buy ourselves a new field, which I am very much looking at the far right-hand side of the map where we are. There are some nice fields there, and they look to be that the yield potential is 100%. So I think they're probably the best fields for us to try target, considering how terrible the soil type is in this area, which I don't know whether that's true to life, that's the case. I don't know. If it is, then that's fascinating and amazing, to have that sort of detail in a map. Well, I've just realised I have the wrong tractor for what we are going to be doing for the rest of the episode, and that is for driving down the roads, because this, with these tyres on, which we could swap the tyres maybe, but with having the tracks on the back, it gives us a top speed of 27 miles an hour, whilst if we take the tracks off we can get up to 32, I think, which is what the John Deere can do. But what we are going to do is there's still some hay in the cow's feed trough, and I want to try and get that down as much as possible. So we are going to move on to December. But before we do that, I do want to fill this up with some wheat, because what I'm hoping is if I fill this up with wheat now, we'll be able to feed the chickens, and when it comes time to sell the wheat, if we sell 2 full loads, it will leave us with enough to see us through until our barley is ready. So if we just have a quick look. So the cows still have 22,500 litres of hay, which obviously it's alfalfa hay. So we need to rest, see how much that goes down, The sheep, we can fill them up, and the chickens we can give them a top up in the next month. So we'll move this over to here. I do also want to, I think the trigger for the sheep and the goats, I think it's quite a small trigger. There's the trough there. So we will have to keep an eye on keeping that clear. So why is it Misty Gap there? That's interesting. So this is what I want. And if we just push that full thing of wool and milk out the way, this is why I want a skid steer. Or what do you call them? Forklift truck would be the most ideal thing. Right, let's move them out of the way. We'll grab 2 alfalfa bales so we can just put them into this trough. What do you reckon? Will we get 3 without tipping because I've got no weight on? That is right on the cusp. So let's take these 3 over, and then we're keeping that full. Because we could, well, theoretically, we could just feed them grass. But if we're making hay, we might as well. So by the looks of it, we'll need to have to keep making more hay than out else. So let's drop these into there. So that's one gone. And that's a fairly big trough if it's taking all that. And let's just go and see, because we've got a straw bale here. I'll just leave this in the trough. Well, in the trigger, I should say. So when we do sleep overnight, if it does need any, it can take it straight out of here. Right, so it hasn't taken that yet. Right, let's pull this round to the corner, because this is where we're going to be loading everything up. Which, do we throw some stuff in now? Because I think I did do a little bit of research, and it said if you did 1 full bale of silage, threw that in. If you then did 1 full, this is obviously with the sizes, the silage is 150 and the straw and the hay 180. So if you did 1 full silage, did 1 full hay, half a straw, and then top up with silage after that, that should give you the right mix. So let's throw this one in. Is it already mixing it without a tractor on or what? So let's take that off. Let's just do the F1 menu. Yes, it is. So now let's go get a straw bale. That's quite handy that it does that, so we don't need a second tractor on. Well, it's a lot more convenient having a second tractor on than just using 1 tractor to do it all. And then it's 50% of this one. I'm not in the thing there. No, I am. 50% of this. So we're in the 60s, in the 50s now. Let's lift up. I tell you what, I wish that was the case every time. An 11,000 litre bale, and we have got it exactly 50%. So that's a half a bale, so we can use that in the next mix that we do. And then I would presume, or at least I'm hoping, let's lift this bale up. It shouldn't take all of this. I think it should leave us with 30% left maybe. So let's drop that in and let's just see how much it takes of this. So now down in 50s, 40s. Oh, I was close there, 27%. No, don't fall. Oops. Well, I hope that doesn't ruin the mix. So let's just reverse onto here. And then we are going to go let's go and get our bale spikes back on. Let's just bob back to the house. We will rest and move into December. And I think it's here. So as you can see, the our loan repayment and hire purchasing has, well, it's drained us of quite a fair bit of money, to be fair. But let's just look at the animals. So the chickens want some food. The cows, do we? That was 20 and a half. So I reckon if we just speed the day on slightly, the sheep will be all right. So if we up the time scale, let's go to 2,000 and let's just try to push this on a bit because I want to try and get rid of as much hay as possible. So when we get to 3 o'clock now, so let's just drop this down and let's now have another look at the cows. 5.5. I think that's going to have to do. So we'll take this load in, we'll get them completely filled up with total mixed ration. We'll put another bale over to the sheep and then that should keep them going for a fair while. And that straw bale, they haven't used all of that just yet. Finally, a bit of wheat to the chickens. So if we have a look at our time-saving stock check, what are we on here? So wheat is at 69 and our dried corn is 164 and both the prices are going up. So I think we rest again, move into, what will that bring us to? That will bring us to January, and then we can start to look and sell everything. Well, it's 8 o'clock in the morning and by the looks of it all the prices are going down, so that's not good at all. Right, we are going to have to get into here. Do these, or were they filling up? Did that fill up the trough overnight? Let's just reverse back in to be sure. I'm just going to take the whole fence down there, that's alright. Right, so they've been filled completely. So we'll top this up, and then, like I say, we will do one more load of wheat. So we'll do 2 loads of wheat in this trailer, and after we've done the second load of wheat, we can then go and get the dried corn and go and sell that. So I'm just going to pull it under here. Let's fill up what's come out of there, and the wheat is the grain mill and dried corn is the grain mill, which if we have a look, okay, that's the corn dryer, grain mill. Right, we know where we're heading and where we're going. So this is the last of the wheat that I feel comfortable in selling, because I want to make sure that we last until we do the barley harvest, which I do think we've got more than what we need, but I don't think there's any harm being too cautious. So let's start tipping that in there. So we're back up to 120 where we started the episode at, and this should hopefully, what are we going to say, 160? Is it going to get us to? Brilliant. Well, almost £170,000. So we can now, I want to look at, so it's either 10, 9 or 8 is where I would like to buy. So if we look at this price, obviously the value 109,000, price per hectare is 41, that's 55, and that's 49, almost 50. So I would say actually going for field 8, we're getting more value for money, and it's the biggest field out of the lot. And obviously sandy loam, so we're getting 100% yield. See, because for me, number 5 would be the one to go for. But 90, so you're losing 7% of your yield straight away. Ooh, untagged place. So we're going to buy field 8, like so. And in doing that, I want to get the data, which we know what the data is going to be. So purchase soil information. It's all sandy loam. And tram lines will go 36. That's very easy spraying, isn't it? So we'll get that. And then what does that leave us with? 59,927. Will that be able to afford a forklift? That's my favourite forklift in the whole game. My absolute favourite. But there is also these. It may be worth this small one, because all it's going to be is for eggs and what'll be eggs, milk and a bit of wool. So I reckon let's change it up, because we had that other one in the, what's it called now? It changed name. Oakbridge Farm. So we're going to go buy that one, and I know that we can spend this money like we are, because all we now need to do is drive forward into here, load up with the dry corn. That should be, I'm hoping this is the trigger. So load up with the dry corn here. Let's just drive a bit further forward, like so. And the sell point for this dry corn is the grain mill again. So we're literally just turning straight round to sell this. So it'll be two and a half loads, I think it's going to be, of this dry corn. So let's spin around. Let's see what one trailer gets us. I know what I've done here. By accident, the store delivery mod. By accident, I clicked it when prepping for this. So I think our little forklift will be already at the yard amongst all the bales. Yeah, there it is. Oopsie. So dry corn. Let's see how much we get for this. 72,188 plus 2,000 environmental score. And you think when we get a better score, so from this year forward where everything's limed, everything's going to be right, it should be fairly getting up there, I'd like to think. So let's fill this up again. So another 74,000 hopefully when you're combining the environmental score. It's so handy having this just here though. So let's pull in and sell this. Like so. And for those of you watching, there was one of my subscribers called, if I just pull my phone up here, I can have a look. I always forget, I'm useless with names and faces. So there's another 72 plus, yeah, so 74,000. Nathan Fast 5623. If you had seen on one of the last video, well I say last videos, it would be 4 or 5 videos back now, speaking about my plans for the channel, definitely for this year. Obviously Saxlingham and Alma are going to be my absolute main focus until November. and then we will be moving on to the new Giants map. So in preparation for all that, I am trying my very best now to do, and from the 10th, just before the 10th of September, because it's currently the 11th of September now, I'm trying to put a video out every day, which will then mean that on some weeks there'll be 4 episodes of Alma, 3 of Saxlingham, and then vice versa. It should swap over. Once the new Giants map comes out, I will then move on to that one, and then that will probably take over doing 3 episodes, and then 2 on Alma, 2 on Saxlingham. That's my sort of plan. And there is another 18,000, which does mean that if I go into here, let's just make sure. That would have been amazing to be able to buy that, especially because I've only just installed it onto this system. But we are going to have to go to, because we've got some milk to sell, and I think the milk is a decent price, 25. Yeah, the milk is a very good price, and I think it stopped at that. So we want to buy the milk tanker. But in true fashion, we'll go for the Alma one so we can put milk and propane in it at the same time. So this one, let's buy that, and we will go make our way back to the farmyard and go gather it up. So anyways, that's my plan for the channel going forward. There has been quite a lot of subscribers have joined recently, which I thank you all for joining, and a very, very big welcome. It's lovely to see, and it's it's more enthusiasm for me seeing that there is a lot of progress in this channel. I'm gonna just park this on the right hand side of this bit of a spinny, and then we're gonna have to go all the way back to go get our tanker to bring it all the way back here to do the milk. Oh no! Right, let me get rid of this, and I can show you that I'm getting rid of it. So that should have deleted it. I do apologise putting that tanker there. I didn't mean to. Well, we all have little blips like this. You would have seen that yesterday, so the 10th of September. I know I've got to do dates now because I do try pre-record things from a while ago, well in advance. I managed to finally get on to a Let's Play, to one of Dagwin's Let's Plays, on Paligny, which luckily with work it permitted that I could do so, which it was great fun doing it. And I think you get a glimpse of me once in the video, and then the whole game crashed when, was it Dagwin? Did he go for a ploughing contract? The whole game then crashed, and then we had to do a lot of things all over again. But that's a rapid fill. I do like that. Right, we're going to go take this to, look to where we're taking it, yeah. So if we go on to here, brilliant mod, it's a time saving stock check. So to the dairy, let's tag that, and where are we looking? There. So it's the bakery first, then the dairy. Sell a final bit of milk whilst we've got good value for it, and then this should leave us 185 maybe. We can only hope, can't we? So let's get to here. So let's Is it going to get to 185? That's the goal. More would be better. 186, that is fantastic. But we are going to, just whilst we have some money in the bank account, is we'll go to the hire purchases agreement. We will pay off these two payments. So we're not saving a lot, but it's just a little bit less to have to come off the bank account. Well, I say a little bit less. It's over £70,000 there, and that now leaves us with 112,686, let's say, dollars, although there is a pound sign there, left. So that's been a very, very productive episode. And in the next one, it will probably look like we'll be messing around with the alfalfa, and depending on how many months, because we will have to skip through one or two, it will then be the planting of soybeans, which we now have 3 fields that we can do. One's definitely going soybeans, and whether it's 2 into corn and 1 soybeans, or 2 soybeans, 1 corn, I would say, because we've got the dryer, it's probably more beneficial to go harder on the corn front than it is the soybeans. We'll just leave this up here, because this is all that's really going to, is the propane for the dryer and the milk here. And then I would like to conduct a bit of an experiment. My nephew has said that he is starting to watch these videos, so I'm going to give him a little bit of a shout out now and say hello to my nephew. I won't name him by name, but he'll know exactly who I'm on about, and I fully expect him to send me a message that he has watched this video, because if he doesn't, then I know he's not watching them. But anyways, I just want to say thank you very much to all of you that are watching. Please do feel free to like and subscribe, and I hope to see you all again in the next one. Bye for now.